Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Geithner, in an answer to one of my colleagues, you previously stated that you had never been a politician. I want to assure you from your answers today that you are absolutely a politician. And let me tell you one of the examples. Do you mean that as a compliment
or not? I can't tell.
Let me tell you one of the answers that trouble me about the issue in your written testimony of the team concluded AIG's failure would be catastrophic. You go on to talk about the insurance arms of AIG. Now, this is not the first hearing that this committee has had or other committees. And you know that we're aware of the independence of the insurance arms of AIG. We've got Morris Greenberg, a former chairman of the CEO of AIG, said, to the best of my knowledge, the problems that came to a head this year did not originate in AIG's insurance businesses, which remain fundamentally strong. We had the head of the New York State Insurance Department, Superintendent Eric Dinalo, came in and said this: before I go further, I would like to make one critical point. It is important for everyone, and especially policyholders in AIG insurance companies, to understand that the insurance companies, which are regulated by New York and other states, are solvent and have the funds to pay any policyholders' claims. They had independent reserves. You did not bail out the insurance companies of AIG, correct? They didn't need it. You bailed out the parent, right?
Yes,
so when we go
if the parent had defaulted...
So when we go through your answer of if AIG had failed, the catastrophic effect of all of the insurance companies that were on AIG, they weren't bailed out by you.
No, that's not true. But maybe this is helpful to go back a little bit. When AIG came to us that weekend, remember the Fed is not their regulator. Fed had no responsibility authority over how they ran their business. That was the province of other regulators. It was inconceivable to me that this was a problem we were going to have to try to solve. And we got all the people we could, including the New York State Insurance Commissioner and his staff, other people to look at and explain to us. Let's pause a second.
Did you bail out the life insurance arms of AIG?
Those insurance companies...
Did you bail out the life insurance arms of AIG?
Well, again, I wouldn't use that term. The actions we took helped
Did you bail out the health insurance arm of AIG?
Well, again, the actions we took to prevent default of the firm protected those companies
Mr. Geithner,
from the risk of failure.
The testimony we've received previously from those who were looking at those arms was that they were substantially sound, and so the catastrophic effects that you list certainly are something that we would all have been concerned about.
I disagree completely. People can look at this and they can come to different judgments, but the people who were responsible for looking at those insurance companies, frankly, had no idea of the risks with firms' term, and you could not separate those companies from the companies that had taken terrible risks. The tragic thing in the structure of the company was they were so closely linked they couldn't separate them. Why would we have not? If it had been possible to separate the place that was taking the firm down, to separate that cleanly, separate that from those, we would have done that in a second. And in fact, much of what the management of this firm is trying to do today still, 15 months later, is designed to achieve that objective. But they were tightly connected. They could not have been separated. And the insurance supervisors who were responsible for the individual firm did not know the extent to which the financial basis of the insurance companies was so connected to the holding company and the AIFP that had taken all those risks.
Well, Mr. Secretary, as you were going through the bailouts and as we looked to the counterparties and the funds that were received, one of the biggest concerns that I've had through all of this process is that I believe that when it all becomes public, and it hasn't all become public yet because we don't have everything from you, that this may turn out to be the largest theft in history, that there were parties that were participating in through mortgage-backed securities and through the credit default swaps into defrauding Mr. and Mrs. American citizen on Main Street who was receiving a loan on their home that was negative in loan-to-value ratio and also had a greater risk than was being reported as the mortgage-backed securities and credit default swaps were passed up the chain. Do you have any information that of AIG knowing that the loan-to-value ratios were inflated and that the risks were being understated? Because I truly believe that throughout this system that brought down the systematic mortgage crisis system in the process, that there was a significant amount of defrauding going on, and that people need to be held accountable. And I don't think in your system where you're bailing out, you're taking into consideration those that were bad actors.
I completely agree that this country allowed, under the laws of the land, a terrible erosion in underwriting standards, a terrible amount of predation and abusive practices in mortgage lending and consumer finance. We should never have let that happen. And I hope you will join with us in trying to pass reforms that will prevent that from happening.